Thanks, Matt. I really appreciate that. And good morning, brothers and sisters. You know, what a beautiful day, right? Yeah. And I'm not even talking about the weather. It's a beautiful day because working people are standing together. It's a beautiful day because working people are on the move together. See, we're taking a message across the country. We're here in Philly and we're on our way to Pittsburgh. Working people are taking action for a better life. And it feels good, doesn't it? Feels good? Right. You see, there's a new national debate going on right now. It's going on all across this country. It's about raising wages for hard-working people. It's about getting people a fair shake and justice and real benefits on the job. And while our leaders may be a little tone-deaf to it, the working people out there are talking about raising their wages every single day, right? You see, first of all, I want to thank you, Pat, not only for your kind words, but for your action on behalf of working people. And I want to thank Americans United for Change for all they're doing in this bus store. And I want to extend a special thanks, a very special thanks to all the good working people here who are standing with me and working people everywhere who are standing up for higher wages. Look, standing up to raise the minimum wage of $7.25. We want to raise it to $10.10, and we want to index it for inflation. And that's going to be good for workers. That's going to be good for our communities. It's going to be good for our country. It's going to be good for everybody when it happens, right? Now think about this. If the minimum wage had kept pace with inflation, it would be $10.75. If it had kept pace with productivity, it would be $18.67. And if it had kept pace with the top 1%, it would be $28.75 an hour. I think we can handle that, right? You see, I want to also talk about the tipped wage, because people don't talk about that often enough. The tipped wage is $2.13 an hour. It hasn't been increased since 1991. And 77% of the people who earn tipped wages are women in this country. Working hard every day, trying to get by, trying to raise a family. Well, I can tell you, we're going to help them get a raise. We're going to bring that $2.13 up to $10.10 so that everybody that works ought to get the same minimum wage, right? Now look, it takes some courage and it takes some bravery for people to stand up for their wages. And my hat goes off to every one of you. See, my friends, for those who work for minimum wage today, the stresses are pretty hard. Like paying those high winter heating bills, or trying to put food in the fridge, and never mind about saving for college for the kids or putting away money for retirement, because there is none left to put away. And for all of us who work to pay our bills, see, we're in the same boat. Our wages have been stagnant too for 2 or 3 decades, even going down the last 10 years. But for those who work for minimum wage, it's not only hard, it's impossible. See, we're raising our voices together. Those of us who earn the minimum and those who bring in just a little more, because it matters to all of us. That's why we're fighting to raise the minimum wage to $10.10 and index it for inflation. Now, we're mobilizing our neighborhoods and our cities because it's been too long since America stood together to raise wages back towards the American dream. So we're here today, and we're taking a stand. And we're going to take that stand together tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and for as long as it takes to bring fair wages to America's working people. Because listen, if you work for a living, If you work hard and you play by the rules, if you create value, you should never have to take on a second job or go to a food bank or raise your kids in poverty. Work should raise people out of poverty, not trap them in poverty. And right now, the minimum wage traps people in poverty. People work 40 hours a week, every month. And at the end of the year, after all of that hard work, they're still below the poverty line. People work for the minimum wage are below the poverty line at the end of the year. Think about that. America is better than that. We work harder than that. America is richer than that, and we can afford to raise wages above the poverty level and give people a fair and decent living. Because think about this. When we do our jobs, we're making a paycheck for somebody. The question you got to ask is, whose paycheck is getting fatter? See, we're giving somebody a raise. Somebody's getting richer, and it ain't us. But the minimum wage is making somebody rich, and it's keeping the rest of us poor. And we don't like it when we work hard and we don't get ahead. That's not America. It defies the American dreams, and that's why people all over this country are saying, we've had enough of it. It's time to pay people a fair and decent living wage. You see, all across the country, there's a groundswell, brothers and sisters, and it's getting bigger, and it's getting stronger, and it's getting louder. It's a groundswell to raise wages so that all of us, every last American, can live better. And today the groundswell's right here in Philadelphia to carry a simple message. $10.10 is a good place to start. Raise the wage. Raise the wage. Raise the wage now. And then we're going to ride this bus to Pittsburgh and on to Washington. But we're not going to stop there. We'll organize on the job, and we'll mobilize in our communities. And we'll spread the word. And we won't back down, and we won't back up, and we won't shut up until we raise the wage. We'll shout it in Philly and Pittsburgh and everywhere else. That raising wages is good for America. It's good for workers. It's good for our communities. It's good for our communities and country. And I got to tell you, we won't stop until we raise that wage to a living wage for every last American. God bless you. Thanks for being here. Keep up the fight.